Hey, it's just another list of our bad production.
That's perfectly fine.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
My name's Thomas,
My name's Adam.
and this is episode 5 of the PODcastaways. And today we're going to talk a little bit about this past weekend's games. Our RG3 had a game, talk about the World Cup games. Adam has a game for me this week, and then we'll talk about the rest of our season moving forward and looking through the end of the season for the rest of the year. So yeah, what are your initial thoughts on this weekend?
Our game?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel so old.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as... How to phrase this? It wasn't as difficult as we were led to believe how good Detroit Tradesmen are.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great team. They are, I believe, they're top of the table. They have put some points on some good teams. Yeah. I think we held our own, which was good. I definitely am feeling it today. Like, there's a couple of us with a lot of bumps and bruises this week. Foster got a couple of dirty elbows. Mm-hmm. He looks like Mr. Bump from Mr. Men. This tough game, tough team. The field was like playing on gravel again.
Just right out.
I'll try and hide my knee, but it looks gross. But like, try saving tackle.
You got it. Didn't
really matter in the long grand scheme of things, so I kind of regret that. But I think we held our own. I think some players had some great performances. The man of the match selection was actually our entire front row. Which was really good. I think our forwards were great.
Yeah.
The scrums, I think we went through a phase at one point where we put 4 or 5 scrums on them and beat them, and the referee kept blowing up that it was wheeled or the ball came out of the tunnel, and I think we were great. I think the tradesmen had 2 very, very good backs.
I agree.
But I think we held them in the forwards. I think our forwards put in a great shift. I think just they were a better team. Mm-hmm. We'll try again next year. Like, exactly. It wasn't a terrible, like, it wasn't unbearable to be there, and it wasn't like one of those games where you're just like, oh, I just want this to end.
Yeah, it was. I guess my whole thing is I agree with what you're saying. I think our backs as well had a really great game. Saw a lot of creative moves, and it was really, to me, the biggest walk away from that game was that the scoreline doesn't reflect it. Like, the first half of that game was real close. Like, maybe we were down by a try or maybe 2 by halftime, but we had a couple of phases where we had, or not phases, but possessions where we had gone through probably nearly 20 phases before we lost the ball or scored or were able to move it upfield in some way, or they had committed a penalty. So that was really great to see, and that felt like kind of the culmination of our season's hard work. That like initial first half with all the phase going to hand, flicking it off to whoever needed to get to it. A lot of rucks were all secured, things like that. So that was really good to see. Obviously, shout out to Ollie, who scored his first try in the D3 season. It was off the back of a scrum. He sort of ran a switch play, and that he started kind of right behind the scrum, I believe, and was moving kind of out towards the right side of the field or the goalpost, ended up swinging back left and just cut a diagonal line straight through their defense.
Yeah, great line, and then dummied the ball to Liam, and then
just
they were waiting for the pass, and so we just hit that line. Very good try. Yeah, and up until Eric's try was great as well. Mm-hmm. Just back row. Yeah. I'm going to just go through you. Up until Eric scored his try, they had all our points, which was really cool. Kicked a couple of penalties as well. So I think we're getting there with the decision making and saying, hey, look, we're in front of the post. We can take 3 points here. Let's take 3 points, come back again, and try again. I think it was a tough game, but head held high. It was good fun.
I think the last thing I'd have to say before we close out about the D3 game was I thought our back 3 had a very, very good defensive game. Their fullback was probably on that day their best player, I felt. He just carved up the defense and was really great. And there was some really, really great spot tackles that were made back there. I know Larry had one where he just chopped the guy straight through the hips, got back up, and I think their 9 just took a dummy and run. I think Larry tracked him down and got him again within the same 2 phases back to back. I know Liam had a couple of try-saving tackles back there, so obviously it doesn't speak well to our defensive line, but those kinds of try-saving tackles out in open space, that's like you're playing sevens rugby, and that's never easy. That's a different art all of itself.
Yeah, I mean, that guy, they're 15, very strong runner, he was quick, had a great step and stuff, but he didn't go through us, which was good. Like at no point did he try and go through Ollie, Foster, or me.
Yeah.
He was always trying to go around the outside, and as you said, like the back 3, tracking him down, making tackle. I think it was him that I tackled that ripped up my leg.
Yeah, I think it was too.
But it was there were some big tackles there. I think you made 20-something tackles.
There was a lot in there. Not 20. It was closer to probably 14 or 15, but there was a lot in there, yeah.
There was a lot of tackles. Foster put in some huge tackles. Blaze
had
the Blaze Fan Club.
Blaze, Rory, you on the back in the back row.
I think Brendan had a really big defensive game. So did John. I know Bert, who is our other front rower, was just ready for every single, just to the point to get the ball. Just was always ready, first in line to catch the ball and run the crash line. So he was. I mean, it was just good across the board.
Yeah.
That one.
What I liked, I think one thing that stood out to me was the fact that we talked about it a lot in the last couple of weeks, where we stick to our game plan of what we call Jackson Queens, and it doesn't matter who those 3 people are.
Yeah.
But also listening to Ollie, listening to Siegel, I think we played as a team, which was great. And I think that a lot of that, I think, comes from the D4 game last week, where we were a team again. We sat up, like the D3 guys, we all turned up, we had a cookout and stuff. And then Paul did the same this week for us. And
nice.
it was just nice to be part of a really good rugby team. And
I love that.
Yeah, that's a huge positive. And yes, it would be nice to win, especially against a team like the Tradesmen. But it's just nice to be part of a really cool group of guys that play rugby.
Yeah, so that was my big thing too. It just made me happy to be there. Like even with the loss, it was nice to walk out. Guys had beers ready to go for everybody. There was food on the other side of the sideline. That kind of stuff was really great. Now that does kind of go off my next point. Obviously, the D4 game this weekend was canceled against Louisville. They ended up forfeiting to us, which now keeps our D3 side or D4 side. Continues their contention for the playoffs. They have a bye weekend this coming Saturday, and then they're supposed to travel to Pittsburgh actually to play the Pittsburgh. I believe it's the Forge that has the D4 side. And so they're going to play that, and then they'll be able to continue on if they secure the victory there. Although I think they're basically guaranteed to go as long as they don't lose horribly, which I don't think they'll lose. But you never know. But
points difference type thing. Okay.
I think points differential, but I think they have a really good chance of going through and making it into the D4 playoffs, which is very exciting, and that'll be good.
Yeah, it's always good to. Well, it's good to extend your season by at least another week.
The seasons are very short. You have 4 or 5 games, and if you even lose 1 or 2, it's just you can't even make the playoffs anymore. So very difficult that way, and it's frustrating. But speaking of knockouts, the World Cup this past Saturday, I believe there's one next weekend's the last weekend of the pool stages, and then we get into the quarterfinal, semifinals, and obviously the final, which means we're moving into the knockout stages. Now this weekend, I believe Georgia played Fiji. There was Tonga versus South Africa. What are the other games that happened this weekend? Do you remember it? The other ones?
Scotland,
Romania.
played Romania.
I think that's right.
No, that's not right. Romania's in Ireland's group. Hang on, I can look.
Ireland and Scotland are the same group.
Ireland. Oh, they are. That's true. Sorry. Yeah, carry on. I can tell you what the games were. Hang on.
Argentina played Chile.
They did. Yeah. So this weekend was. So obviously starting last Wednesday, Uruguay and Namibia for last place playoff. Pretty close game, 36-26. Japan Samoa. Japan beat Samoa by 6 points. That was a great game. Thought Japan were going to do that. I thought Samoa were going to win. Japan held out really well.
New Zealand showed up and stomped Italy.
Italy decided they were going to beat New Zealand, and then New Zealand had a lot to say about that. I was pretty disappointed they didn't get 100 points.
Yeah, that game was hard for me to watch, not because I'm like a supporter of either team particularly, but I thought it was going to be a lot closer. And I know a lot of the commentators kind of talked about like this tier system and how bad it is. Like 2 tier 1 teams, tier 1, if that continues to be carried on, should not be beating other tier 1 team by 96 points.
No, it's 96 to 17.
Like,
no, ridiculous.
That should not be a thing.
No. And then the face-off in South America, Argentina, Chile, 59-5. Chile scored, which is good.
They did. Was it a try? They
scored a try.
Try.
Points, yeah. Fiji, Georgia.
That was so. The deciding moment for that, I just rewatched that game actually earlier today. There was a pass that got called forward, which was not forward. And had that not been called forward, Georgia had scored a try, which that's not to say that the events of the game would have changed. Maybe Fiji would have continued to win, but like that's a huge momentum shift, obviously, to score a try. And I think it was maybe the 8-man passing one in, or Shvili who's I think the left winger was passing it to the 8-man, and they called it forward, even though clearly the ball was caught about 2 or 3 feet behind where the pass started from. So I don't know. That seemed a little bit.
I thought Georgia. That would have been a big upset. That would have been a great thing. And that just talks about the tier 1, tier 2. I think there's definite calls for Portugal and Georgia to, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see their results against a team like Italy, but to compete in the Six Nations. And Argentina have been a good team for a long time. But really, they have come in leaps and bounds in the past. That's my thing. They've come on leaps and bounds in the last couple of years, really, from playing more games against South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. And it's you progress, you do you do better when you play against better teams.
That game was also particularly important as well, because now the Wallabies, they played Portugal this weekend as well. They beat them, which was kind of to be predicted. Now the margin, I wasn't quite sure on how that would look. I thought Portugal would do well, and they did do very well, I thought, for good portions of the game.
They had 2 tries disallowed, and
one of them was a tough call.
One of them I questioned, and then one of them was 50-50, and then the other one I thought was a try.
There was the one, I think maybe it was their hooker reached over and put the ball down, which the on-field decision was try. You couldn't clearly see the ball being lost into contact, which to me is not enough information to overturn the try. Yeah. Now, maybe he really did drop it, but per the camera angles, to me, that was not enough reason to overturn the try.
Especially when the on-field decision is a try, it's tough.
But the Wallabies now have no real chance of going through to the quarterfinals unless Fiji loses to Portugal, I believe. Is that who it is? They have to play Portugal?
Fiji have to play Portugal, yeah.
And I think Portugal will have to win by a margin of more than 7 points, and Fiji can score no more than 3 tries, which...
Fiji have to not get a point, basically.
Yeah.
If they score 4 tries or lose by 7, or it's a draw, Fiji go through. So Australia, Eddie Jones is packing his bags and heading out, which is Japan. Lots of memes around that this week. It was fun. The other game, obviously, Scotland. Darcy Graham scoring 4 tries. I don't know why he's not in that team every other time. I think he goes second all-time backs scorer for Scotland after Stuart Hogg.
Yeah, I think I was looking at some of the things where people were putting Darcy Graham as their triple captain, and he got over 500 points.
595 points he was worth.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Which is really upsetting some people's fantasy teams. Very quickly, let's just do that. I know it'll annoy some people because we do go on about it, but this week's fantasy, I'm not last, which is good. I'm actually making my way up the table.
Yeah. Middle of the pack now.
As it stands, but we only go by what round? So round points. So who lost that round? Bert scored over 1,000 points on there because he had 585.
And he had him as the captain. Yeah.
So MC scored 87 points this week because he had
a lot of people that
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people with zeros.
Yeah, Will Skelton's not playing. That's wild.
Yeah, he had Ireland players in there and England players in there who didn't play this week. So, so MC, you owe Bert a beer. That's a thumping.
That's an 11 beer margin.
Bert had, let's see. He didn't have anybody. Oh, he had 2 players, that on their own, beat MC's entire team. One of them's obviously Darcy Graham, and then Artie Surveyor scored 92 as well. Charlie did well. Didn't have Darcy Graham, and had
Mapimpi,
who's injured, who's going home.
Yeah, I think they said he had a fractured eye socket or something and had to be flown home, and they called Lukenyo Yam into the squad, which is world class as well, so not really a stressor for the Springboks. So.
That's a very good segue, talking about fractured faces.
I told myself I wouldn't speak his name this week, but now that you've brought this into existence, he only has himself to blame, and you only have him to blame. But Antoine Dupont is back training with the team, so that was exciting. He has a big black eye, I think, but I think they probably won't play him against Italy.
If they do,
and then if he passes his HA stuff, they'll probably have him play in the quarterfinal. I would hope off the bench, but it really depends on who they're playing. If they're going to play
if they'll play first, they'll play whoever's second in Ireland's group.
So either probably South Africa.
Probably South Africa. So that could be tough.
They probably want him to play, yeah.
They probably will. Some of the dark arts will come into play there with South Africa, trying to target him if he is playing, and then if he's not playing, I guess we'll see who replaces him.
And the big game next weekend is Scotland versus Ireland, which I think if Scotland win, it kind of, which I don't think they will, but I'm saying if they win, I think there's a way that they can move it on, and I think they would then move Ireland down to second and boot South Africa out. I want to say something like that, or maybe it's
Scotland can't finish first in the group.
I guess they'd have to finish second, which means it
would come down to points difference. And although Scotland did put 89 points on Romania, Ireland also put
85-0 or something like that.
No, it was 78-12 or 78-8 or something like that. It will come down to points in that respect if they've both lost one game. But I can't see Ireland not finishing top of that group.
I think Ireland's going to
I honestly, as much as I would love South Africa to go out, I can't see them not going through second in that group.
They're starting to get more and more of their 2019 World Cup squad guys back in there anyways. So.
Yeah, your friend Billy LaRue.
I don't like him. Andre Pollard's obviously back in, kicked his goals, kicked all of them through, and got subbed out at halftime.
Yeah, 55 minutes or something came off. He'd kicked 100%. I think he'd kicked 4 for 4 or 5 for 5 at that point. And then Manny Labot came on and changed the game, kicking, did well, didn't miss one.
Yeah. I think they said that Andre Pollard only played 30 minutes of rugby before, and I think he played in half a game for the Tigers.
He played
and then got subbed out, and I think he was in
the last year.
I don't know if it was in the last year, but I think they're doing some of the Premiership games right now, where the Premiership clubs are playing the
Premiership Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're playing whatever the lower league is called. That I can't think of the name of it.
Division 1.
Is that what Jersey and then we're all in the Cornish Pirates one? Okay.
Yeah. The rugby champ.
Is it the championship?
No, I don't know. I can't remember. I'll ask my granddad. He knows. He's from Cinderford and they're in it, I think. I don't know. Anyway, what do you want to talk about now?
Game time.
Okay, so I invented a new game. So here's how the game works.
Okay.
And anyone watching, it'd be really good as you play this, just push pause now, go to our Instagram. I don't know what our Instagram name is, PODcastaways Rugby or something like that. I'll put it here. Go to our Instagram and then comment on who you think these people are, and you can play against Thomas and see if you beat him. Okay. But what I did is there's only 6.
Okay.
Well, there might be 5. Iconic rugby players.
Okay.
So you should be able to spot, if you saw a picture of this, you'd be like, oh, I remember that happening in this person. Okay. But what I did is I used Photoshop to take them out of the picture. So you have to tell me who's missing.
Is there like a silhouette of the person?
Yeah.
Okay, that always.
So it's just a sign. So I just basically drew around them and just.
This will be a good test for me because I can.
So I left the rest of the image in though, so you should be able to from the image. You should be able to tell who it is. So don't scroll because the next.
I won't touch.
The next picture is the result. Is the answer. So.
Well, that's Johnny Wilkinson.
Okay. Well, you could talk about it. Make it good.
So the picture is a silhouette of someone kicking a drop goal, or I assume a drop goal, maybe doing a restart. I can clearly see behind him that white jersey is the England jersey from 2003. I know that because I've read the Johnny Wilkinson autobiography and they talked about the first team to really wear the skin tight jerseys. And they also changed their jerseys at halftime, which is a fun thing, something that Clive Woodward wanted them to do. But I also think this may be the kick that won the World Cup because it's off of his right foot, which I know he kicked it with his bad foot. So that's why I think it is Johnny Wilkinson. And it's against Australia, which then further makes me think it's that game.
It's Ben Cohen behind him, who I have played rugby against.
Love the gloves with the English flag on it.
Yeah.
You have the gloves on sometimes for your thumbs, I think.
Thumb protectors, yeah. I don't know a full thing, but yeah, Johnny Wilkinson.
Yes, yep. So I actually have not this angle of that kick, but I have the side angle of that kick as a framed photo in my bedroom. Fun fact. I do actually.
Oh, well, that is an easy gimme then. Okay, Thomas, 1 point. Okay, next one.
Oh boy.
I thought this is right. So if you Google this person and you type in this player tries, versions of this dive come up a ton, which is why I think it's iconic. Like this is his move.
Okay, so unfortunately, I can't see what team this person's on. There's no one in the background.
There is.
This jersey?
That's the referee.
Right, but these are Argentinians.
There's 2 people there and there's a person there.
Okay, so Springboks. These got to be the Adidas jersey, so it's a little bit older, which means this player's probably not playing anymore. I'm going to go with Brian Habana. I don't know about the dive, but just purely because he scored so many tries for the Springboks, I feel like that's a good shot there. Okay. I said that was a good guess. I have no idea. So I've only seen highlights of his, and Jason Robinson has been the 2, and then Shane Williams has been the big wingers in Lomo, I guess, too, before my time of watching rugby, which is about 2019 and on. So
okay.
They all preceded my time of watching the game. Okay, well, this one I don't know if I'm able to get it. So that's I assume an old school English team jersey.
Yep.
I can't tell if there's a scrum cap on that person or not.
This is iconic because he doesn't have his shoelaces tied up.
That doesn't help me at all.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Tim Horan. I have no idea. I'm picking Australian. I'm going with Horan.
Are you going to shoot yourself?
Oh, I couldn't tell. See, I would never have guessed that. I would never have guessed that. That's before my...
Look at his hair.
I can see it now. I thought because you couldn't see the hair as much without it maybe a scrum cap.
Yeah.
That's
cool. Oh, you got one wrong.
I did get one wrong.
Okay, so what are you, 2 and 1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ready? This is probably the hardest one.
I'm going to go... I have 2 that come to mind immediately. Brian O'Driscoll and Ronan O'Gara. And I think I'm going to go with Ronan O'Gara. Purely just because of the stance and the spiky hair. I think that's my guess. Yeah, I would. Spiky hair, the other option would have been Richie McCaw.
Richie McCaw's hands on hips looking around the field. That's all he does.
I guess I never pictured him being tired with his hands on his hips, so I didn't pick him.
There's loads of pictures of, if you go onto Google and you see him, there's so many pictures of him standing there. That's his pose. That's why I picked it.
I was envisioning Ronan O'Gara after just having kicked a drop goal, sitting there like this and watching it, because I know he was a bulkier 10 as opposed to some other 10s. So, okay.
2 and 2. 2 left.
2 left.
You're going to get at least one of these last 2. You will get at least one of these last 2.
Okay, but I have to get 2 of the last 2. Okay.
To
So
win,
I want to
yeah.
get the winning score. Okay. Oh, Lord of Mercy. Okay.
So this isn't a World Cup shot.
Okay.
This is in the Six Nations because you clearly see who the 2 teams are.
This time I am going to go with Brian O'Driscoll.
Yeah. Brian O'Driscoll sidestep. The
Well,
second.
I would know that. So again, the times that, like the clips I've seen of Brian O'Driscoll is like the short hair, older look when he's playing for Leinster, and then stuff from the British and Irish Lions, like the clip where he like misses the catch and kicks it up to himself and catches it. And I've seen the one clip where he passes it
and then
to
runs
himself,
around and catches himself.
which is pretty sweet. Okay,
Yeah. Second greatest ever person to put on a 13 shirt.
that's very true. And is this?
I'm the greatest.
I know.
Okay.
And is that Paul O'Connell in the back there? Is that his
No,
name?
that is Peter Stringer, the scrum half.
I thought he was really little. I thought he was like 5'5". I thought he was a really little guy. That's the reason I guessed Paul O'Connell.
No, that's Peter Stringer.
I guess he's not. I mean, he's like probably 5'9" or 5'10" too. So he's not.
Driscoll? Don't know. I'd probably say he's probably a bit taller than that. I'm not the biggest guy. I can't remember who that second row is for Scotland. Yeah. Cool. Last one.
Oh God, it's not. You should have blacked out the Namibian guy, and I would not be able to guess that guy's name. It's something Dysel, but that's Antoine Dupont. That's so mean. You're a dick.
Hey, you won for
Just for this, I'm gonna go in and find the tackles. If you hurting yourself, I'm gonna replay them on our Instagram page just for that.
Oh.
My boy, how dare you?
won 4 out of 6.
I did one 4 out of 6. I think the one that I feel most bad about missing has got to be the Lomu one, but he was before my time. I never really watched him play. I've never seen really much clips of him other than like the one where he like breaks for 6 or 7 tackles and
I
scores.
think that was it.
That's
Yeah, because he had his shoelace untied as well, which is the best thing. Yeah.
I did not think it was against England, but
England was in the semi-final. Yeah.
Mm.
Because South Africa were like, who the hell is this guy?
Was he on a World Cup winning team?
No.
Because they won obviously 2011, 2015.
No, South Africa won that year in I think 1991 or did they win 1995? No, I always get this wrong. I got this wrong in the last podcast. I always think he's earlier than he is, and he's not. He played 1995, 1999. That's 1995 in South Africa when South Africa won it.
Invictus. Matt Damon.
That's him. Yeah, Matt Damon played rugby and pretended to be South African. Yeah. Name the other movie that Matt Damon plays rugby in, and there's a very good mistake in that movie because he's in the scrum, but he has number 10 on his back.
A rugby movie with Matt Damon?
It's not a rugby movie. It's just a scene where he's playing rugby.
I'm gonna go with Good Will Hunting, just because I feel like maybe he's at a private college in Massachusetts. He may play rugby.
Another Boston movie, though.
Well, that's all their movies. That doesn't help me very much.
The Departed.
When he's in. I'm not guess that.
What?
I've seen the movie. I'm saying I wouldn't have guessed that.
Oh, okay.
I was the one that he was in. I pictured more of a younger Matt Damon playing rugby in a college thing.
Yeah, he may have played rugby in other movies, but I know that it's the fireman, or the what do you call fireman here?
Fireman.
What do you call it? I call it like fire service. What do you call it? Like just.
What do you mean like?
Well, so in England it's the police service, the fire service.
Fire department.
Fire department. That's
Something
it.
like that. I think that's right. Geez, you're putting me on the spot now. I'm questioning myself. Yeah, I'm gonna say like the fire department. Right.
Okay, so but it's the police academy and I guess the fire academy playing thing, and then he has number 10 in his back and he's in the scrum.
Maybe it's a mall.
No, it's a scrum.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes things happen when the back have to get involved. Yeah. Jack and Owl knows.
I know.
You know as well. So you do the splits when you join the pack. All of a sudden has you out here getting the lowest in the ruck as humanly possible.
It's difficult for me to get down there. Yeah. Once I go down, I don't come back up. I'm just let down. Cool. Oh no, is this still recording? Please still be recording. It is not recording.
Did it record
This is recording.
Okay.
It has been. It did record for 13 minutes. So this will be recording. So the sound might be shit.
That's okay.
Hey, it's just another list of our bad production.
That's perfectly fine.
What else do we have to talk about?
But I guess to kind of close things out, I was going to talk through the rest of the season that we have left going on, and then moving into the winter and then the spring. So
I'll hit record again, and then we can at least get some better sound. Hopefully, I don't know when it stopped, but
so our D3 team travels up to Michiana, which is in Elkhart, Indiana, this coming Saturday. That'll be the bookend to our G3 season, unless there's a whole bunch of forfeits and some other stuff going on. Doesn't really seem like
Michiana is not in Michigan.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Don't ask me. I have no idea. I would have assumed it was. I think Elkhart's close to or on the border, anyways. That I think they kind of call that whole area that's touching Lake Michigan or Lake Superior, whichever one's that one. Don't question me on the geography. I don't know it. Off the top of my head, I assume Lake Michigan is Michiana, that little region over there. But that'll be an exciting game as the closer to the season. They just lost to Toledo, I believe, this past Saturday. And I've heard they have one of the nicest home pitches of any of the teams. And I think they usually end up hosting the Midwest Championships in that area for the Division III teams.
I think is it not somewhere outside Chicago this year?
It might be this year. I think maybe they host it there pretty frequently. I don't know off the top of my head. And then our D4 team has a bye week this Saturday, and then they travel to Pittsburgh, which, like I mentioned earlier, they are in contention to move on to the playoffs. But as the season comes to a close, looking forward this October 28th, we're hosting the Castaways Golf Outing, which will be really exciting. It's $250 for a team to enter, a team of 4, so just around $60 or something a person to play. We're currently looking for sponsors to sponsor a hole. It's $150 to sponsor a hole. We're working on prizes and things like that as well. And we're playing at the Airport Golf Course here in Columbus, which I think does have a full 18, but I don't recall off the top of my head. I haven't played there in a long time. Maybe it's only a 9. Maybe it's only 9 because it's an airport golf course. I don't recall. Have you played that one before?
No, I'm going to drop in some terrible stuff the last time you and me played golf.
Oh, no, don't do that. We have that. There should also be some other events down the road. As the season kind of comes to a close as well, the podcast will be taking a little bit of a hiatus for a little while as we don't have as much content to talk to after the World Cup's done until our next season starts. But we are going to do we're still talking through when it'll be, but we're going to do a Guinness tour of Columbus and rate all of the best pints of Guinness in the Columbus area. So if you have ideas for good bars to check out that would serve the best Guinness pints, put it in the caption below, or comment below, I'm sorry, and give us some places to go. Is there anything else that's important to say for the end of the season?
It's been fun.
It has been very fun.
Yeah, keep it going. Let's turn up. There's still some games left, so let's turn up. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Road Park, 6 till probably 8, but now the sun's going down earlier.
So 7:30ish now.
And then Thursdays after training at Woodlands Tavern. Saturdays after home games. I don't think we got any more home games, do we?
No more home games for the rest of the season, unless I think maybe if the D4, again, don't quote me on this, but I think if the D4 side wins and they're top of the league, they get to host. They get to host the home game. But,
yeah, and then just be friendly with people.
Be friendly. Be good people. The end.
Goodbye.
Bye.